Ni hao. Thank you very much for your support. I love you all. 感谢学习英语. Gracias por aprender inglés. Angreci siknikeli tanyavad. Thank you all very much for learning and respecting the English language. In this video, I'm going to discuss the language journey in reference to the demo. If you have taken the time to listen to the demo, thank you very much for your time. If you have taken the time to watch the demo short film, I really appreciate your interest in my life's work. I can't give you subtitles or flashy background music or anything nice that I want to give you in this video. And I want this to be peppier than it is. But I can't because I'm real. I am proud of it, but I'm suffering. So I will explain it to you happily, and I'm glad for anybody that can hear it, be inspired by my story. I have a lot to say. I should get started. Thank you for your time. When I first started learning Mandarin, I was already in fantastic physical condition, but I was not in good mental health. Mandarin helped me a lot in this way. I was already after doing a lot of work with the Mandarin people locally, helping them learn English and mingling and becoming friends with them. And at the point when I started learning Mandarin, I was at a mental low, and I was able to do Mandarin very efficiently, easily by myself. That was very exciting to me. And so I was doing that. It was helping my mentality and helping me build stronger connections with my Chinese friends. I was listening to Teresa Tang, Dong Li Jin. When I was in grade 3, I remember really being inspired by Ella Fitzgerald. I went on to be a big Ella Fitzgerald fan. And of course, Marilyn Monroe, Princess Diane. I remember when she died. My mom cried that night. But anyway, after having influence from all those ladies and the connection I had with the Mandarin language, discovering Teresa was an amazing thing to me. Additionally, she basically sang in English to every country in the world from Taiwan at a time when English was not nearly as developed as it is today. And she was an amazing human being. And a lot of the things I read about her life and some of the messages she had in reference to people branching out was extremely useful to me at that time. And that's when I discovered Joel into size music. And my life will never be the same because I need to dance. I didn't always dance. I didn't always know I needed to. But when I didn't realize what I was leaving out. I danced a lot when I was a kid, and whenever there was elementary talent shows and stuff, I would dance for them. And still to this day, not one person said good or bad things about my dancing. But it doesn't fucking matter to me what you think of my dancing. Because I dance how I dance. If you like it, thank you. If you don't, I don't care. Respectfully, this is how I dance. This is how I do it. And I don't need you to tell me it's good. I don't need you to tell me it's bad. It's just how I dance. But I wasn't dancing. And when I started listening to Joe's music, a lot of really important things happened for me while I was dancing. I was pushing things out. I was finding processes. It helped me so much mentally and physically to be dancing again. I really needed to dance. And I was. So at that point, I was starting to feel a lot better. I was feeling good about my Mandarin skill. I was feeling good about dancing. And I decided I was going to try to look at another language due to the fact that I was always a big Chris fan. I decided I would look at Espanol next. And I was definitely able to accept it comfortably. And it was weird because I was listening to Mi Reflejo, and I know the album well, but I was focusing on Chris's English music, and then I developed the language skills in the meantime. So when I went back and listened to it again, it was different, but I was getting it, and I felt like I might be able to do Mandarin and Spanish, but I was going to focus on Mandarin under the circumstances. So I was listening to that to include it, but not really to study it. So at this point, we had a lot of brothers and sisters move to our area from India. And due to my involvement with the multilingual community at that time, I just started mingling with Indian people as well. And I decided I was going to try to include Hindi and see how it went. That's when I discovered Shreya. And I have what is considered my Shreya studies, because it didn't take me too long to be able to kind of sing along with a few courses and get the gist of a few courses, like the more repetitive parts, right? Just from listening or listening a bit. But so I decided I was going to write some of them down and study some of them. But what happened was, in my naive English mind, I thought it was all Hindi, and I went to write down 4 songs and found out I actually had one in Hindi, one in Telugu, one in Tamil, and one in Kannada. And so in that, I wasn't singing in 3 languages. I was singing in 6 languages. And it was a great thing, but it turned into a bad thing, because I became obsessed with learning language at that point. The reason was, I did have a lot of naive English perspectives in that I didn't really understand language learning as much, and I didn't understand what was going on with it really to the degree I do now. And I felt like I had to speak every language I was able to sing in. I thought there would be no way I could come out and sing in them if I couldn't speak them as well. And I started to study language obsessively. I didn't have a lot of humans around me at that time, but even the ones I did were pushed away by my constant language learning and need to absorb these languages. And what happened was, it started to hurt me. I was working myself to the bone, trying to learn how to speak 5 additional languages at once. It was hard to be around. I was hurting myself. I was learning them though, and I was absorbing them. It wasn't like I was doing that for nothing in reference to that. Like, in that time, I learned a lot of language really quick. And I haven't forgot it. But that's when I seen the interview where Shreya spoke openly about not being willing to speak Malayalam on camera. And I was after knowing how well she sang it. And a lot of the things that I heard Shreya say in that particular interview in English, I literally felt the pressure I had on myself leaving my body, because, well, I was energy aware anyway, but I was starting to acknowledge that that pressure was my own doing. I could just sing in them. People would be happy to hear me sing in Tamil if they were a Tamil speaker. I wouldn't have to speak Tamil to them. And that was an exciting idea to me. And all the pressure started leaving. And then I watched more Shreya interviews and I got more amazing insights that I really needed as a multilingual artist. And that was a game changer for me. At that point, my language skills started to soar. And I started looking at as many languages as I could just to kind of check out what was going on. That's when I discovered my Greek skills. I know I'm really good at speaking Greek. It was around that time I discovered that. In Filipino and Vietnamese. I was looking at a lot of these languages and picking up on them. So anyway, I decided it was time for me to kind of focus, and I was going to expand on my Spanish and kind of stick to singing whatever Indian languages I could, but speaking Mandarin, Spanish, maybe speaking Hindi, if I had to speak one. And so I know this is a little bit unpleasant, but the next part of the story, when I have to call places over like bill discrepancies and stuff, right? It's obviously a stressful thing to do. But when a lot of people get somebody with an accent, they get a little bit nervous that they might not be able to make out their English. But when I hear somebody with an accent, I get excited because I can connect with that person with English or with their language, sorry, and it helps relax me. So this particular day, and then I can deal with my business, right? So this particular day, I was tense about calling this place about a bill problem, and the lady on the other side of the phone had a Spanish accent. So we connected with Spanish, and then that was great. Me encanta hablar español. I love speaking Spanish. And before we hung up, I asked if there was any Spanish music she could suggest for me, and told her that I was a big Chris fan as a guide. And when she said Shakira, I was like, why the fuck didn't I think of that? But I know why. It was because I was focusing on Shakira's English music as well. But that was fantastic for me because I love Shakira's Spanish music. I like the Spanish music better than the English music. And I made a nice long Spanish playlist for myself and basically was learning Spanish from Shakira and Chris, learning Mandarin from Teresa and Joe, and picking up on Hindi and some singing in other Indian languages from Shreya. That's when I met my Mandarin family. And I knew Angela's music from the time that I was doing Mandarin, because although I was listening to those particular artists mostly, I did also listen to Jay and Cindy Wong and Aylin and a couple of them. And Angela was in the group I was listening to. But when I met the Mandarin family, Angela was one of the only things that we all agreed on. So I listened to a lot of her music with them, and we would paint and listen to her a lot because it was one of the things we could agree on. And when they had to move away, it was really hard on us because they didn't want to go. They wanted to be here. They couldn't. And they had bought a house here, and there was complications with that. But while they were moving, I would go over to their house and cut the grass and make sure it looked good for whoever was looking at it. I didn't have the means to buy it, but I was happy to help them until they could get somebody in it. And when they were gone, I would listen to Angela's music and paint, and it was very soothing to me. And the whole time I painted the window, the big window, both times, I just listened to Angela's music and enjoyed what I was doing. It was very soothing to me. So naturally, as all that was happening, I'm an artist mostly in my life. That's how I keep kicking. And so the languages were all bleeding into my music. I already had several albums I already made as an individual. And I was working on switching some songs over to a popular sound. But I didn't really plan on them being multilingual. But I was doing that musical work. And then with the language skills coming, they just started meshing. So I have recorded an album called WHIM, which stands for With Humanity in Mind, it does have 17 languages included on it. But to be very direct about it, the only reason there's 17 languages is because the title track, With Humanity in Mind, well, that track itself has a ton of languages in it. The whole album is put together like Gratitude, or like, those songs, My Truth, Holding On, where the English is right through and the other languages are around it for the most part. And the album is sung in English, Mandarin, Spanish, and Hindi. But then that one song has a ton. That's why it has 17. The bulk of the album has my main 5 languages, right? The significant ones. But I had the first 3 songs off the demo done up, and I had a bunch of Jolene songs done up. Now, the Jolene songs that I had done up didn't really fit on WHIM, just because of subject matter conflicts and different things, right? I love them, but they didn't really fit in on that particular album. And I had those first 3 songs from the demo made up, and they were on WHIM as like a trilingual cover section. It was most of my album, then there was those 3 songs, and then 2 songs to end. And what I decided to do, I didn't like the idea of leaving Joe off the album under the given circumstances. But what I decided to do was to take those cover songs off, squeeze my album together. What I did. And then I had the 3 cover songs, and I started to come up with concepts of putting out like a little bit of a cover album. And that's when I started playing with other people's songs. I only did over the one Shakira song, but I did choose that song because that was the song that she used to come to English. So I used it as my first primarily Spanish song. And the Joe songs that I chose for the demo are very personal to me, but it was important that I had them together on the album. And from my standpoint, that was in significance to keeping the flags together, like I mentioned before. So then I had the demo, and I wanted to pick a trilingual song that I had to include on it. I felt like Gratitude was the perfect song under the given circumstances. And then I had the demo. I did have times in my mind where I thought it would be amazing if I was able to have WHIM, but then have those ladies sing in their languages as representatives for their languages on such a multilingual album, and then it would be me and them, and they would just sing the multilingual stuff and I could sing the English stuff. But now I'm so multilingual, I want to be able to flex that on my music, and that was all just in my head anyway. I mean, I thought about doing all kinds of things in my head. Obviously, my imagination is off the charts. I'm alone, and this is all I do. So naturally, my mind has wandered to a lot of places during the process. But ultimately, I'm very proud of it, in that I was able to do it. And additionally, how quick I did it, because I just described a fair amount of language work. But again, remember, I didn't even start learning language until February of 2019. This is only June of 2022, and I've been online for 2 years. So it was only about a matter of about a year and a half that all of that language stuff went on, and the albums got put together and all took place. But so it was more of a shock to a lot of people in the time frame, and I understand why, because it was fast. I don't know why. It was very confirming to me. And I know that when you don't know a language, you're not interested in hearing a language, it's kind of hard for you to enjoy the song, I guess. I know that. I studied it, and I understand that I have a different circumstance. But respectfully, there is 70 million Tamil speakers in the world. And I am very proud to have a Tamil song on my demo. But I know that none of my local English speakers are likely to speak Tamil for very logical reasons. And I don't speak Tamil. I know pieces of Tamil and I can sing it really well. But I felt like I didn't want to leave Greek out because I was so good at it and enjoy it, but I really wanted to stick with the significant languages. And if you are interested in proper language development, I encourage you to watch my video called The Evolution of Language. It has a lot in it in reference to that. If you have increased your interest in proper language development of our world, thank you very much for that consideration. It could really help the multilingual community relax. Additionally, it can help the monolingual community expand and discover more beauties in the world as well. So no harm is being done there. That's the story. Thanks for taking the time to hear it out. I do have some more very big things to say before I come offline in the next couple of days. I'm trying to deliver the information maturely, but I am suffering in my own and have some pretty severe things I feel the need to say. So it's kind of hard to say them calmly, but ultimately I appreciate those that can respect my perspective on it. I am trying to help. I don't see how helping the world increase health knowledge as humans and helping the world increase language maturity is going to harm anything, really. So I'm very thankful to God for my life and for this period of time. I'm very thankful to God for your life. And, you know, if the performers didn't have an audience and the audience didn't have performers, then this would be taking place. So thank God for each and every one of us. But I'm going to get going for now. I love you all very much. And I understand you didn't ask to be involved in any of this, so I won't take anything personally. I don't take anything personally. Have peace. I do. 对所有人的和平与爱，再次感谢上帝。再见。